Right. Good morning and welcome to MICEC online. Sorry, my name's Danielle Mason and I am the collections assistant here at MICEC. A lot of my work consists of the physical art collection as well as helping out with every aspect, including the library, audio and visual, and just about everything else. That's me, and I'm joined here with my colleague Sharissa and Neault.
That's it. I'm Sharissa. I am the outreach manager here at MICEC. I do all things social media. Normally, I'm not online here though, but Danielle cooked for me yesterday at my event, so of course I had to come and help her today at her event.
And I thank you very much for that. So the Manitoba Indigenous Cultural Education Centre has been situated here in North Point Douglas since 1977. We've been established since 1975, and we have a lot of our work consists of community programming, language revitalization, educational resources, and a big part of it is the collection that we've amassed over these last almost 50 years. So a big part of the project that we're running right now is just highlighting what we have. We spent, like I said, nearly 50 years collecting everything and haven't really had the chance to show it off the way we want to. And so we're doing this project in hopes of inviting people to the space to take a look around and just learn about the information that we've collected, and we just really, really want to share it. So this collection itself is primarily birch baskets actually, but that's just sort of what we ended up having a lot of. I chose a little bit of everything I wanted to include and just talk about it and sort of celebrate the craft that is basketry. Personally, I think is an underrepresented form of art, and just showing the diversity and the beauty of each piece. So with that, I guess we'll get started in showing them off.
Okay,
So
which one's first?
So the first ones are actually our ash baskets, which are just here. So you can pick that one up, and it's just, now these are made from black ash and they're called splint baskets. They're a more East Coast style, found from anywhere with the Mi'kmaq people down to the people of Maine and right into the Great Lakes. And these ones, this one is actually one of my favorites. It has sweetgrass woven into it.
Wow,
So
does it smell good?
It does. It makes all the cabinets smell.
It does. I wish you could smell it. Wow, that's beautiful.
But all of our cabinets smell of sweetgrass now because so many of our baskets actually have it woven in. And these ones we collected, I think, around the 80s. That's the one thing about having a collection so vast is we don't have a lot of stuff written down.
Right.
But if you ever decide to come in and you happen to see Dennis Daniels, you can pick his brain and like the rest of us do and ask as many questions as you like. Some of my personal favorites are these little ones in the front here.
Ooh, I didn't even notice these ones.
These are also ash baskets, and they are very, very dainty.
Look at the colors.
That's the thing about ash baskets as well, is they hold dye so beautifully. And you can see that some of them have sweetgrass woven into the brims as well. These were made by...
This one?
Yeah. So these ones were made by a Geraldine Thoma of the East Coast. She's originally from New Brunswick. And the thing about ash is no two basket makers make them the exact same way. Like, you can see just how much attention to detail is in each piece. And
That's beautiful.
the handle, you can show the camera even.
Love that. That's a handle?
Yep, just the tiniest little handle. And
so cute. I love that. Smells good.
yeah, so those are very, very sweet.
They all have sweetgrass in the underneath the, what do you call it?
The brim or the rim of the top.
Nice.
Yeah.
So cute.
Me and my technical terms. It's actually coming up on sweetgrass season here in the prairies too. So we're hoping to have some time for our students to go pick sweetgrass picking. We typically pick in Peguis, but it does grow pretty well everywhere across North America.
I hear Fisher River has some good spots.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that's my hometown, our home reserve is Peguis and Fisher River. So when we get the chance, it'll be very, very exciting to go. And so we can move on. These ones I really like to talk about because, so I am an amateur maple tree sap collector. So there's a long history of sap collecting with this specific type of basket. It's a birch bark basket, and before the modern use of like tin baskets and things like that, they would use, the people of the prairies and plains would use these, which are...
What is the stitching?
The stitching is, you know what, I can't be too sure. It might be reeds or even willow.
Wow.
Like peeled willow. So something
Amazing.
sturdy and bendable to make the brim solid.
Wow.
Yeah, so it holds its shape a lot better.
Cool.
And
This one too?
yep, that's also one. This one is a little more decorated. You can see the sort of stitching and then the handle as well as the lid. So this one might have been more used for berry picking or storage, and it has like the littlest bit of a handle that you can see was stitched up. So yeah, like they're used for a lot of different things. For collecting sap, berries, even just storage of medicines and dried goods in the home. But yeah.
Peeking inside, seeing if there's any berries left in there.
Oh, if only. It is berry season. Raspberries are in bloom.
And do we know who or which group made this?
It's kind of hard to nail down because trading was so common, especially amongst like our peoples. We were always moving around. So,
Yeah.
like, I've found traces of birch bark baskets from as far north as like Rankin Inlet and Alaska, all the way down south. So,
wow.
But they're most prominent here in the prairies and around the Great Lakes region.
Hard to believe that these created these baskets.
Such simple things and yet so beautiful. I'm a big fan of birch bark, so I should have worn my earrings. That would have been...
Your birch bark earrings?
Yeah. I've just learned recently how to make them, so they're very,
Nice.
very nice. And, oh, sorry, far out of frame. And then there's also this one, which I really, really like. It's one of our it's more of a storage basket as well. It's cotton lined, and there are beautiful little sewn decorations into the side, the butterflies and the birds. This one actually has a name associated with it. It's made by Charlie Roberts, and it's just, yeah, it's also absorbed the sweetgrass smell. Not with sweetgrass, but this one still smells of it, which is nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you can see the little glass beads adorning it as well. We also have some that are covered in porcupine quills, but around the 1800s, glass beads did become more popular for adornments. It just became more accessible.
And do we know what this is decorated with? What this is here?
I'm guessing reeds as well, or
Okay.
willow, but I couldn't really pinpoint an exact material.
Wow.
I'm still working on my
When
identification.
When did this one come into our collection?
Again, I'd probably say around the 80s or 90s.
Wow.
A lot of our stuff was collected around that time.
It's older than me.
I know, me too.
Wow, crazy.
But yeah, another one of our pieces. And
This one too?
yeah, these ones I really like. You could tell they're from same artist, but
Oh, same artist.
so these ones have a particular type of etching that I like to talk about because this is actually winter birch, so winter harvested birch bark. Typically, a lot of our birch bark baskets will be harvested in the early summer, late spring, usually around June in our climate. But these ones are actually harvested in the winter time, which you can see. So it's like darker on this part.
Yeah.
So that is just from like being cold peeled. And then you would etch into them afterwards.
Wow. It looks different too.
Yeah, it's like almost heavier in a lot of ways, like more sturdy.
And is this red willow?
That is red willow, yes.
Cool.
Good eye.
So it's got red willow on the side here. Wow.
And then this is just another example of that. So there you go. But yeah,
so this is like etched into the side.
So you would just scrape along the pattern, and you can see the little goose. But
the goose?
There's a goose.
Where?
It's just like
cute.
Hidden by the leaves. Yeah.
Niska.
Niska. And how would you say plural again?
Niskak.
Niskak.
Yeah.
Those things are going to be heading away soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can almost always, once you train your eye, tell the difference between a winter harvested versus a summer harvested birch.
Yeah.
So summer harvested typically looks a little more glossy. It looks a little more like smooth, clean. And then winter birch, you'll see a lot of these etchings. And
it feels thicker and sturdier too.
So it's definitely more heavy. And a lot of these you can line with, or would have been lined with like sap or like tree gum, and that would waterproof them. So they would be good for boiling. They'd be good for collecting sap, like holding liquids, that kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah. So
cool.
It made it a lot easier to cook in them as well.
Wow.
And I like to include this one as well because I feel like everybody and their granny had something similar in their home growing up. I know I had a little canoe that we kept things in, and it really shows the beauty as well as like the modern take on things of such like a traditional item. And you can see once again the winter etchings in it.
Wow. Does it have some on the other side too?
Yep.
Oh yeah, it does.
All the way around.
And this is all made of birch?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And typically a lot of what you see here for our baskets are what we use to hold our medicines in our cabinets right now. So
there's sage in here.
Yeah, you can see just little bits of sage. Same thing goes with this one. We keep our sage and our cedar and things. So they make beautiful pieces just as well as really, really pretty storage.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to show this one just because it's like slightly different. The ones that you saw earlier are like cut in a specific way so that they're sort of molded and overlap. This one is just a single piece of birch bark that was folded to make a bowl. And I like highlighting the versatility of the art. So
yeah, you can see where it was bent. So that's so cool.
And it also makes it watertight as well.
Wow.
Whereas the other ones have like seams that might be able to leak. These ones are one piece, so it's all cohesive. There's no way for the water to escape except for the cracks that formed because they, like I said, a lot of these are quite old.
Do we know when this one came into our collection?
I'd say late 90s, early 2000s at the earliest. So.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah. And then this one is actually one of Anna's favorites.
I love that one too.
I adore this one.
So pretty. I remember when we got this one.
So this is another form of a motak. Motak? Motik. Our language guy Noah is usually the one who gives me the pronunciations. But this one is adorned with porcupine quills, which like pre-1800s was the choice for adornments when it came to like prairie people, and a lot of tribes really, really liked using them, the dyed quills. And this one is more modern. I think it would have been in the last 10 years we got it, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, it'd be a good berry picking basket in my opinion.
For sure.
And
this one's so beautiful. I love this one.
Yeah.
Do we know who made this one?
It gives a name on the back. Alma Jumbo. It's a stamp. But I believe she's Dene.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some Dene representation.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
We are homeland to 7 tribes. And then
we have a comment from Cameron that says Wasquai birch in Inuit Wasquai.
There you go, sick, Cameron.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then we're going to go further down south with this one. This one is actually a piece that we have on display typically all year round, and we get a lot of comments about it because it's so unique to compared to what else we have in our collection. So this one is, in my files, it's attributed to the Apache from the south, and it's a woven basket. So it's almost like it starts as a spiral. You can kind of see in the really detailed spots. It starts from the very center and they work their way out very, very slowly and very delicately. And
do you know what they made it with?
It really varies by region. Some places it's attributed to, I think it's called yucca. Oh. It's a type of plant from down south. And
interesting.
And it's actually, we get a lot of questions about it, especially the logos and the designs that are put into it.
Can you tell us about the symbol?
Yeah, I can. So it's, to the southern tribes, it's something called the whirling log, and it predates a lot of like modern Western civilization. I have it written. So the Navajo, the Apache, the Hopi peoples are just some of the groups that had it in their origin stories. There's a lot of descriptions about it, but I know in modern times it's attributed to the Second World War with Hitler's regime. Now, the tribes of the South actually made a proclamation in 1940 that they agreed not to use the symbol that they held so sacred and dear. It had a lot to do with like their forefathers and like respect to their nations, and it was a symbol of friendship that was then tarnished. So they wrote a proclamation in 1940 that basically said they would not use it anymore because of like kind of the hate that became associated with it, and they didn't want to be associated with that kind of negativity. That was such a happy symbol in prior years. So
then is this piece made before 1940?
It likely is, and so because it's just something that not a lot of them wanted to be associated with after that point, and because of that, they haven't really used it at all since. Yeah. So this is definitely pre-1940, 1939. We don't actually have an exact date, like most of our collection.
Yeah, I love the little ducks too. Sisipak.
Sisipak?
Sisipak, yeah.
Yes,
yeah. And do we know about the coloring, like the dye, what they would have used?
It likely would have been certain root vegetables or roots that produce a red dye. And
that's too cool. I love that.
We do have some books in our library as well about dyeing. I don't have them here, but we do have a few of them that I can pull out if anybody is ever interested.
Nice. And I just wanted to mention to our chat, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Put your questions in the comments, and I will bring them to Danielle.
And then
this is my favorite.
This is all of our favorites. It's a similar made basket. It's definitely more like recent than our last one. Yeah. It is the tiniest thing. I don't know if it'll even focus on it, but
yeah, I don't know.
We were talking about it this morning, and we'll be lucky. I think we might be able to fit one blueberry in this one.
A single blueberry.
A single blueberry.
I love it. It's so cute.
But it just goes to show, like, baskets can be like any size, any shape, and any designs whatsoever. This one is just, I always like keeping it on display because it's just so
petite. Do we know when this one was made? Or like who made it?
Once again, I don't really know 100%. I like to make up stories when it comes to these things. I like to think about like who would have made something so small and petite. And
what's
like,
your story for this one?
Somebody was feeding the little people.
I love it.
So I can definitely fit all the little knickknacks and sweets and things they like.
We have a comment from Andrew Atkinson. I think some of the stitching you weren't sure of could be spruce roots.
Spruce roots. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
100%. There's a lot of spruce that grows around here.
Cool.
Right on.
Thanks,
I
Andrew.
love knowing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then from that, we'll move back to something that's a little more local. So this is one of our willow baskets.
I know what this is.
Yeah, red willow. Lots of it grows by the river here. So we're about, I'd say, half a kilometer away from the Red River. And it grows so abundant down there in the springtime. And so typically red willow baskets are made in the spring because the shoots, when they're young, are very, very malleable. They're easy to manipulate. They're less likely to snap. And so
That's when you harvest red willow too, because it shaves nice and easily in the spring.
And so you can use it for tobacco, or once again, like this, the baskets. I use it for dream catchers. So it's a very, very diverse plant as well. And this one was made by, it's one of Norma Spence's relations. I always draw a blank on the name. I'm so bad with names. But we had somebody here who made a lot of our willow baskets, actually. And whenever you come into the center, you can always spot at least 2 or 3 whenever looking around our space. So once again, these are one of our things that can hold storage. We use it for picking. This one we actually use for our medicines as well. You can see kind of remnants of sage.
A little bit of sage.
Just a little bit.
Apis.
And so, yeah, this one is like an end-to-end, which I really like the way it looks. So you make the frame and then you start from one center end and then you weave bigger, 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 and then you just go all the way across and then decrease, make it smaller on the other end.
Wow.
Now, some of them are, will start as like a spiral in the bottom and then slowly build around it. I have my first attempt. So I'll take that.
Wow.
So that was my first ever attempt at making a red willow basket.
Did you give up?
Not necessarily. I took a break and it dried. So I wasn't able to. But this one is one of those ones you start as a cross section. And then, so it's, I think, about 8 pieces. I cut through 3 or 4 of them. And then you just shove like another 4, and then you can mold them to be a circle, and then you just weave around them.
Yeah.
And then it just gradually gets bigger until you get to the ends, and then you'll insert more prongs, sticks, and then you'll weave upwards in a spiral motion as well.
That's a lot of work.
It is, and I have so much respect for the artists that create these things because I got very frustrated with this. I can only imagine how much time and energy people put into their work.
Yeah.
It's so, like, it's awe-inspiring in all senses of the word because there's so much time put into it. You can really, really tell. So to go from something like that to something as beautiful as this is so, like, you don't realize how much work is put into it until you do it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it's
beautiful though.
show that.
Beautiful first attempt.
I appreciate
We all
that.
start somewhere.
So that's something I'm definitely gonna probably try again in the spring. And so that's everything for now. This is just like a wink to what we have in our collection. We have so many baskets and like just so many different varieties, so many different types that there's no way to like compile all of them without being here for a whole day and just me like telling you about everything. So
So we do have a few comments. Shauna Nagler says, "This is so amazing. Thank you, Sharissa, Neault, and Danielle Mason." You're so very welcome, Shauna. Jennifer Smith says the whirling log design in reference to that basket there. Yeah. And we have a question from Donis Kennedy.
Okay.
Do you know of any current basket makers in Manitoba?
We have quite a few of them, actually. It's
Yeah?
seen quite a resurgence in the last, like, I'd say a couple decades of basket makers like really working to reclaim it. I don't have the names off the top of my head, but I know that there are quite a few. Our colleague Danae Sinclair is somebody who learns a lot from other artists, and
Yeah.
she's been taught to make ash baskets from a
No
few
way.
different people. Yeah,
She's holding out on us.
I know.
Danae, teach us.
She says it's a lot of work. It's a lot of pounding and like peeling and
Yeah.
shaving. So
Do we know who she learns from?
I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I think he's somewhere from the northern states, though.
Okay. Danae, if you're watching this, we want to know. Jennifer Smith is asking, what material is the tiny basket made of?
Again,
The tiniest
the
one?
tiniest
This
one
one?
is it's some form of willow or yucca grass. I have to double check my things on that. We do have like whole books
Wow.
on Apache and Navajo basket making, which I can show off in a minute or two.
Nice. Awesome.
They're so little.
And that's it for questions, except Miss McKay says, awesome job, gals. Thank you so much, Miss McKay.
That's my mom.
Aw. Thanks so much, Danielle's mom.
But yeah, so if we want to like move over here, I can show off the books from our
Awesome.
library collection. Camera is
Perfect.
following.
And I'm still watching for your questions.
And then this is just like a piece of birch bark that we have, but it's like something I liked to show off. It's usually you would wet it, like soak it, and then
Yeah.
it like becomes more malleable. You can build stuff with it.
Wow.
Yeah, and you would usually cut them to make like this first style of birch bark that we showed off. You would cut them to be about that shape, and then it's just a matter of closing it together and then sewing or taping it down in this case.
So this would be an example of this basket, right?
No, this one is like a full circle that is like bent to do so. It would be more
Oh.
along the lines of the porcupine quills
Oh,
or one
wow.
of the
This
first
one?
two. Yeah, that one.
Okay, wow.
So you can see how like the two pieces would come up and then they would be sewn together there. I guess I could take my gloves off now. And then the bottom flap would be covered and they would be sewn together.
Wow.
And we
I
do
think
have-
the Manitoba Museum has kits, I think, or used to
Yeah.
have kits where you could make a little birch bark basket.
little basket to take
A little
home.
basket.
Yeah. So, so these are just like a few of our books that we have on basketry and quill work. So I wanted to highlight quill work of the Plains, which is just another one to show different examples of how porcupine quilling is used in adornments and fashion. It's primarily in black and white, but you can see kind of how they're used in different ways, sewn down, and very similar to the one with the florals that we showed. So we have two on that, and this one I really like. It's I think you'll like this one too. It was translated by Ken Papanicus.
Ooh,
So it's
we love Kempopanicus.
Yeah, so it's the birch bark basket, and it's just like it's basically a picture book of just the step-by-step showing of how this little kukum harvests birch and then goes on to make her baskets, and just how she does it and shows each step, and I really like this one. I like it.
Yeah, I want to see this one. Great book.
Yes,
I
yes,
hope we have
indeed.
copies because this one's going in my office.
Another one disappearing into the stacks. And then we have Indian basketry with over 250 illustrations. This one is more focused on the southern and southwest baskets once again. So it's like the Apache style where it's just the different shapes and the weaving styles. A lot of them do have examples, like really, really nice examples of like how to do it. Like this one doesn't have it, but it does have really nice photos of different things. So
Oh, I can see the similarity between this and this basket over here.
yeah, so that
Cool.
one, and This one actually has an example of the swirling wind or swirling log motif as well. That's the word I was looking for, motif.
Motif.
Yeah, so it's like how to weave, and it has examples and sort of tutorials on how to do them. And then there's also this one, again, more along the southern states and southern border. Again, sort of shows it, and then it goes into like very in-depth descriptions, like very historic. This one, I just found this one and I really, really love it. It's the Basic Iroquois Splint Basketry book, and it has like step-by-step instructions on how you go from harvesting to splitting to weaving splint baskets, like the ash baskets we showed.
Wow. And
just like how it starts, and it's translated as well into, it doesn't say which, hang on. Mohawk.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorites.
For your next attempt.
For my next attempt. Let's see if I can, I don't know if I can tackle ash just yet, but we'll get there. And then as well, Indian baskets of the Northwest Coast. This one has very similar photos and descriptions. These ones are more like I said, the West Coast styles, more Pacific Northwest. And it's just...
Wow.
What's that? A receipt for Moonstone Creations. And then I just wanted to include this. This one is the maple syrup book, and it has a reference to the mokak, so the birch bark baskets, and it has like a little paper thing, just as what I've showed on how to make your little baskets. So you can photocopy this. And
what language is that?
This one is Ojibwe.
Oh.
Yeah. So mokak. Yeah.
Donis, help us.
Help.
Wichiyashin. Wichiyashin, what's that?
Because it's...
Mokak.
Oh, there's a leg, I forgot. But yeah, and like this is just like a very small selection of the books that we have in our library. The People's Library is like, it's like gold for me. It has everything to do with anything. So...
And I'm sure if you asked Noah, he'd come up with a pile
probably
10 times as large. So,
but yeah, so that's just a little taste of our basketry and our books. So
cool.
If we have any more questions, we can answer those.
Any more questions from the Facebook chat? Sharon says, very interesting, good job. Jennifer Smith says, me gwetch for the presentation.
I gotta say.
Yeah, awesome job.
Oh, tell me more.
Anna Peranto says, awesome book choices. We can definitely make a resource list for anyone who wants to learn more about basketry. Yes, we can.
Oh. Yeah.
Is it makuk?
Makuk?
Yes. Makuk.
Makuk.
Makuk?
Makuk?
M-A-K-A-K?
Yes.
Makuk. Is that like wasquay? Like birch?
It's not specific to birch, but I know Noah was one who compiled a bunch of different languages for our basket words. And makuk is used as just like the term like basket or container. So it was used for like birch and spruce and all the different types.
Amazing.
So I can make that available as well. I'll probably do an Instagram post about that.
Wonderful. Oh yeah, Donna says a box or basket or rigid container.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's, a little piece of language. We're still compiling the ones for Dene too, which is, I'm looking forward to learning more of that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that concludes our questions.
Yeah, I think so. And with that, hang on, I need my little cheat sheet.
Your little cheat sheet.
My cheat sheet. But I think that's about it. So
thank you so much for inviting me today.
Yeah,
this was cool.
I'm so thankful.
I see so many of these baskets every day, but I know nothing about them. So it was really cool to be able to ask questions and figure out kind of like who made them, what they're made of, when they were harvested, which was cool. I had no idea there was a difference between winter birch and summer birch. I also never realized the sweetgrass on the tops there. And it was also really cool to get some insight into the basket with the dye and the symbol. I've always wondered about that. So thank you. That was really awesome.
Well, I'm so thankful you were able to come along with me. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
And thanks to everybody who is watching. So you're more than welcome to come down to the center any day of the week and learn whatever you like. Ask as many questions, take a wander around, take out some books from the library. So we hope to see you again soon. Ego se.
Kinanaska mitinawaw.